Moon jellyfish. The moon jellyfish is possibly the most dangerous thing in the ocean, precisely because you will never see it coming. Aurelia aurita is nearly completely transparent, a pulsing disk of pale blue and white that disappears entirely against open water, and it travels in swarms of millions that can materialize overnight with zero warning. For most adults, a sting produces little more than irritation, but for anyone with an underlying allergy or a compromised immune system, contact with those near-invisible tentacles, which trail up to 1.5 meters from a bell that reaches 40 centimeters across, can trigger full anaphylactic shock. It is not the venom that makes this creature dangerous, so much as the sheer volume and the invisibility. You do not know you have swum through a swarm until your skin is already on fire, and by then, if your body reacts badly, you are already far from shore. Lionfish. The lionfish looks like something a child would draw when asked to imagine a beautiful fish. Vivid red and white stripes, long ornate fins fanned out like a crown, moving through the water in a slow, graceful drift that makes it look completely harmless. That is exactly the point. Hidden inside those decorative fins are 18 venomous spines, and contact with even one delivers a venom that causes immediate excruciating pain, severe swelling, and in documented cases involving children and elderly victims, cardiac arrhythmia and temporary paralysis. The lionfish does not attack. It simply exists, and you touch it. Originally native to the Indo-Pacific, it now dominates Atlantic and Caribbean reefs as an invasive species with no natural predators in those waters, meaning its populations have exploded into the millions. Divers have been stung through wetsuits. The beauty is not incidental to the danger. It is the mechanism. Cone snail. The cone snail earned its nickname, the cigarette snail, from one grim piece of folk wisdom. If one stings you, you have roughly enough time to smoke a cigarette before the paralysis sets in. The Conus genus contains around 900 species, the most lethal of which is Conus geographus, and every single one of them is capable of firing a tiny harpoon-like tooth called a radula from a flexible proboscis that can extend in any direction, including directly backward, meaning there is no safe way to hold one. The venom, a complex conotoxin, attacks the nervous system and causes progressive paralysis, respiratory failure, and cardiac arrest, and there is no anti-venom. Treatment is purely supportive. Roughly 30 human deaths are formally documented, but the real danger is how the snail is encountered. People see the intricate, elegant shell, pick it up off the seafloor, and are dead before they understand what they are holding. Blue-ringed octopus. The blue-ringed octopus is roughly the size of a golf ball and contains enough venom to kill an estimated 26 adults, with no anti-venom in existence anywhere on Earth. The 4 species in the Hapalochlana genus live in tide pools across the Pacific and Indian Oceans, where they spend most of their time a dull, unassuming brown. The warning comes immediately before the bite. The electric blue rings covering its body begin pulsing rapidly, a vivid iridescent flash that is one of nature's clearest danger signals. Most people who die from a blue-ringed octopus bite report that the bite itself was nearly painless, which is the truly horrifying part. The venom contains tetrodotoxin, the same neurotoxin found in pufferfish, and it shuts down nerve signals completely. The victim remains fully conscious, aware of everything around them, while becoming completely unable to breathe. Without someone manually performing artificial respiration for several hours, they suffocate while awake. Pufferfish. Tetrodotoxin, the neurotoxin that makes the blue-ringed octopus lethal, is most densely concentrated in one place: the liver, skin, and ovaries of the pufferfish. A single fish contains enough toxin to kill approximately 30 adults, and the toxin is, by volume, estimated to be around 1,200 times more lethal than cyanide. In Japan, the flesh of the pufferfish is served as fugu, a legally regulated delicacy that requires chefs to train for years and pass rigorous licensing exams before they are permitted to prepare it. because the margin between the edible flesh and the lethal organs is measured in millimeters of precision. Death from tetrodotoxin poisoning follows a specific and deeply unpleasant progression. The respiratory muscles shut down, and the victim dies of asphyxiation while remaining completely conscious. There is no antivenom. The only treatment is mechanical ventilation and waiting. Stonefish. Universally recognized by marine biologists as the most venomous fish on Earth, the stonefish has refined its lethality around a single strategy, looking exactly like a rock. Sinensia species are covered in warty, barnacled, mottled brown and gray skin that makes them indistinguishable from the reef rubble they rest on, completely motionless on the seafloor. The 13 dorsal spines are not used to attack anything. They simply point upward, and when a foot, a hand, or a knee applies pressure, each spine injects venom automatically. The pain has been described consistently by survivors as the most extreme sensation a human body can experience, with multiple documented cases of victims begging medical staff to amputate the affected limb. The venom causes localized tissue destruction, can trigger cardiac arrest, and without the anti-venom developed in 1959, is fatal within hours. The stonefish does not hunt you. It just waits, and you step on it. Saltwater crocodile. The saltwater crocodile holds the strongest bite force of any living animal at approximately 3,700 pounds per square inch, which is roughly 23 times more powerful than a human bite. And it delivers that force from an ambush that can begin from complete, motionless stillness beneath the surface. Crocodilus porosus, the largest living reptile at up to 6 meters and 1,000 kilograms, is responsible for an estimated several hundred deaths per year across northern Australia, Southeast Asia, and the Indo-Pacific, making it the most consistently lethal large predator on this list. The kill mechanism is the death roll. Bite, drag underwater, spin violently to disorient and drown. It holds its breath for over an hour. The attack itself takes under a second from the moment the crocodile decides to move. Most victims never see it. The water looks still, and then it does not. Moray eel. What makes the moray eel genuinely unusual among dangerous sea creatures is the anatomy. It is one of the only vertebrates on Earth with a second set of jaws. In 2007, researchers at UC Davis documented that the moray eel's pharyngeal jaw, a second jaw mechanism sitting in the throat, shoots forward into the mouth during a bite to drag prey deeper inward, a mechanism the researchers noted bore striking resemblance to the creature in the Alien franchise, which was reportedly inspired by exactly this. A moray bite alone is rarely fatal, but the jaw locks reflexively and does not release, meaning extraction typically causes severe tearing and blood loss, and the bacteria-laden environment of the eel's mouth guarantees a serious infection in the wound. They reach up to 3 meters in length, live in dark reef crevices, and are most dangerous when hand-fed by divers, which habituates them to associate human hands with food. Box jellyfish. The box jellyfish, specifically Chironex fleckeri, is widely considered the most venomous marine animal on the planet, and its venom attacks 3 separate systems at once: the skin cells, the nervous system, and the heart. Australian records document at least 63 deaths attributed to box jellyfish, and the speed at which the venom works is what separates it from everything else on this list. Death has been recorded in as little as 2 to 5 minutes, which is not long enough to swim back to shore. The tentacles reach up to 3 meters in length and carry approximately 5,500 nematocysts per centimeter, each firing on contact. Unlike most jellyfish, the box jellyfish has 24 functional eyes and actively steers through the water, making avoidance unpredictable. One practical detail that has saved lives: vinegar deactivates unfired nematocysts. Fresh water makes the situation significantly worse. Irukandji jellyfish. The Irukandji jellyfish has a bell approximately 1 centimeter in diameter, 4 tentacles, and causes a clinical syndrome so severe that one of its formally documented symptoms is described in medical literature as a feeling of impending doom, which physicians mean literally. Patients become absolutely convinced they are about to die, and sometimes they are right. Doctor. Jack Barnes confirmed the identity of Carukia barnesi as the source of Irukandji syndrome in 1952 by stinging himself, his son, and a local lifeguard to document the effects, which include catastrophic full-body pain, uncontrollable vomiting, dangerously elevated blood pressure, and potential fatal brain hemorrhage. The jellyfish itself is nearly invisible in open water, roughly the size of a thumbnail, and its range is expanding as ocean temperatures rise, meaning it is now being encountered in waters where it was not previously recorded. Portuguese man-o'-war. The Portuguese man-o'-war is not a jellyfish. It is a siphonophore, a colonial organism composed of thousands of individual specialized creatures called zooids that together function as a single animal. And understanding this distinction matters because it explains what you are actually dealing with. The vivid purple-blue float sitting on the surface, sometimes up to 30 centimeters long, is just the pneumatophore, a gas-filled chamber that keeps the colony afloat. The actual danger hangs invisibly beneath it. Tentacles that can extend up to 50 meters below the surface, delivering a venom that causes intense welts, cardiac distress, and in rare cases, fatal anaphylaxis. An estimated 10,000 people are stung annually in Australian waters alone. The most important practical detail, a man-o'-war washed up dead on a beach remains fully venomous for hours after beaching. The tentacles still fire. The animal does not need to be alive. Textile cone snail. The textile cone snail deserves its own separate entry from the broader cone snail family because Conus textile sits among the top 2 or 3 most lethal cone snail species and has a specific and grimly ironic history. Its shell, decorated with an intricate geometric orange and brown tint pattern that looks like expensive handcrafted pottery, has been collected by humans for centuries. People sought it out. It was considered beautiful and valuable. The harpoon fires in approximately 400 milliseconds from any direction the flexible proboscis can reach, which includes backward over the shell, meaning attempting to hold it from behind provides no protection. Without treatment, estimated mortality from a textile cone snail sting approaches 70%, according to some toxicology assessments. There is still no anti-venom. The shell that people once traded and displayed in cabinets was always a loaded weapon. Titan triggerfish. The Titan triggerfish is the entry on this list that most surprises divers who encounter it, because the threat is invisible until you have already broken the rules. Ballistoides viridescens defends a nesting territory that extends upward in a cone shape from the nest on the seafloor, meaning that ascending vertically directly above a nest is interpreted as an attack, even if you never approached the bottom. The fish responds by charging at speed, and those front teeth, which are specifically evolved to crack hard coral and sea urchin shells, can bite through bone. Multiple documented injuries involve divers losing fingers or requiring reconstructive surgery. It is not venomous. The danger is entirely mechanical and behavioral. During breeding season across the Indo-Pacific, from approximately November to March, territorial aggression intensifies significantly. The correct evasion response is to swim horizontally, not upward, which goes against every instinct when something is coming at your face. Great white shark. The great white shark can detect a single drop of blood diluted across roughly 100 liters of water from over a mile away, can accelerate to 40 kilometers per hour from a complete stop, and can breach entirely out of the water when attacking prey from below. Carcharodon carcharius reaches 6 meters in length, weighs up to 2,000 kilograms, and bites with approximately 4,000 pounds per square inch while simultaneously shaking its head to remove tissue, which means a single bite can remove 30 kilograms of flesh in under a second. According to the International Shark Attack File, great whites are responsible for more unprovoked fatal attacks than any other shark species. The widely accepted scientific position is that most attacks are investigatory. The shark bites once to identify what it has found, and then retreats. That investigatory bite is simply enough. Mantis shrimp. The mantis shrimp closes this list because it genuinely reframes what killing in seconds means. The smasher variety of Stomatopoda accelerates its raptorial claw at approximately 10,400 grams, reaching a strike velocity of 23 meters per second, making it the fastest predatory strike of any animal on Earth. According to the landmark 2004 study by Sheila Patek and colleagues, the strike is so fast that it creates a cavitation bubble in the water immediately around the impact point, and that bubble collapses at temperatures approaching 4,000 degrees Celsius, generating a shockwave powerful enough to stun or kill prey even when the physical blow misses entirely. Hobbyists who keep them in aquariums call them thumb splitters. They have been documented shattering reinforced aquarium glass. They are up to 38 centimeters long, covered in neon greens, blues, and reds that make them look almost fictional, and they perceive the world through 16 types of color receptors, compared to 3 in humans. They experience a version of reality we cannot even conceptualize, and they can hit you twice before you register the first impact. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.